Someone really needs to stop this guy already. Mark Ruffalo once again couldn't hold himself back and dropped a spoiler from a Spider-Man movie. He said that Spider-Man will 1000% fight an alien in the future. And only one name came to everyone's mind: Venom, of course. What he referred to as the future is actually about Brand New Day. Since this is currently the only Spider-Man film Mark Ruffalo is expected to appear in, we know that the Venom suit is set to be introduced in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Whether there will be a fight between Spider-Man and Venom is still unclear. However, the actor who plays Scorpion has repeatedly shared Venom and Scorpion-related posts. This also suggests that Venom could be one of the surprise characters in the film. Of course, the person Mark Ruffalo is referring to might be Null, but Null isn't really an alien in the traditional sense. He comes from space, but actually exists in a deeper cosmic realm. Anyway, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think it's too early. I don't think Venom should receive the symbiote suit now when it is supposed to be reserved for Secret Wars. But since universes are going to collapse anyway, would it be better for Venom to get a piece of the symbiote before that? Yes, that could also work. It's already been confirmed that the suit will be introduced, so no immediate full transition is expected. Previously for Spider-Man No Way Home, Marvel's visual development department created 3 different concept designs. For those who don't know, the original script of No Way Home was actually like this. Venom and Eddie Brock from Sony's Spider-Man universe would come to the MCU, and in fact, we already saw this scene where they briefly arrived. Instead of the 3 Spider-Men fighting their villains together with Venom, the original plan was for Venom and Spider-Man to fight against common enemies.
It amounts to a kind of
Then Sony insisted on Tobey and Andrew's return. Marvel eventually accepted it and decided not to force Venom into the story, so they let him exist separately and return on his own. That's why Venom, who was supposed to bond with Peter Parker, was left sitting on a bar counter. Honestly, I wish we could have seen the original version of No Way Home. Watching Spider-Man and Venom fight the Sinister Six would have been incredible. Yes, the Sinister Six, Mysterio was also supposed to be part of that group. Anyway, there's nothing we can do about what's already done. Even if we had seen it, the audience might have questioned why Spider-Man's villains were included, but not the Spider-Men themselves. And No Way Home might not have broken box office records the way it did. People did enjoy Venom. They saw that Venom was very different from what was shown in Spider-Man 3, capable of bonding with humans and evolving. Symbiotes, as the name suggests, change depending on the host they bond with. They can even access memories, experiences, and emotions. Some might ask, if Spider-Man and Venom merge, wouldn't Peter Parker turn into an anti-hero instead of a hero? After all, Venom eats people's heads to survive, or at best feels the need to consume chocolate. So why doesn't he need that when bonded with Peter Parker? In fact, Venom is not a hungry symbiote in that sense. However, to maintain mental stability, he needs phenethylamine. Eating brains satisfies this need for a long time, but chocolate can also help maintain balance. When bonded with Peter Parker, Venom can survive for long periods without external feeding, possibly even hundreds of years. This is because Peter's adrenaline and fast metabolism provide enough energy for Venom. In comic logic, Spider-Man's hormones and energy act like a superfood for the symbiote, so Venom doesn't need external food while bonded with Peter. But many believe Venom makes Spider-Man stronger. And that is also true, because Venom enhances Peter's physical abilities, strength, speed, and agility, making them a perfect match. However, Mark Ruffalo wasn't just talking about bonding. He said fight. So what exactly does that mean? Venom bonds with another host, and technically Spider-Man ends up fighting that entity. When I first watched Mark Ruffalo's video, I interpreted it as a future enemy from another timeline. It reminded me of the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series, where Venom has been officially confirmed for Season 2. Since that series exists in a multiverse very similar to the MCU, Venom's inclusion suggests a parallel symbiote origin, possibly even creating a temporal paradox. Even though that show shouldn't be taken too seriously, its connection to the MCU implies that Spider-Man may eventually have their own Venom suits at the same time. Symbiotes are also connected through a hive mind, sharing experiences across universes. This is why Venom recognized Spider-Man immediately when he first saw him. The power, the hormonal energy, everything drove him insane. Venom loves Eddie Brock, but Eddie starves him. With Peter Parker, however, he is both fed and able to function as a hero. So even if Spider-Man and Venom are enemies, Venom will always see Peter as his greatest feast. Through the hive mind, even a small fragment of Venom remembers this. That's why sooner or later Venom will return to Peter no matter what. He might even save Peter from death and form a kind of codex between them. But the biggest problem is that Spider-Man constantly wears the symbiote externally, making Venom impossible to hide, which draws Null's attention earlier because Peter has to hide his face. Otherwise, how would he continue being Spider-Man? During Secret Wars, Null might leave Spider-Man alone, but once everything resets, his first goal will be to collect the codex and escape. Eventually, whether delayed or not, we will get Spider-Man, King in Black. At this point, all other Venom-related anti-hero projects have basically been discarded. Everything now revolves around the MCU, which is how it should have been from the beginning. At this point, Spider-Man's supporting character should be Thor. He has already appeared alongside almost everyone. Iron Man, Nick Fury, Doctor Strange, Punisher, Hulk, but never really interacted with Thor. That time should come. If they connect this story to the all-black Necrosword and Thor as its wielder or destroyer, it would be amazing. But anyway, I don't want to go too far. This is just what I would like to see. When people say Marvel has no ideas left, or that Marvel is finished, it doesn't really make sense. If we can think of this much, they should already be planning these storylines. However, things at Marvel don't seem very stable lately. They've laid off thousands of employees. Whether due to financial issues or other reasons, we don't know. The last time Marvel was in such trouble, they were on the verge of bankruptcy and started selling characters, which is how Spider-Man ended up with Sony. Honestly, Sony deserves a lot of credit. Without Sony, Spider-Man might never have become this popular. Their films and ongoing projects explored areas Marvel likely wouldn't have touched for years. Without Sony, even MCU Spider-Man wouldn't be as valuable as he is today. Sony constantly pushes projects, and Marvel is almost forced to keep making Spider-Man films. Hulk's situation is similar. Marvel owns the character rights, but Universal holds distribution rights, which limits how he can be used. When you look at it this way, Spider-Man being with Sony wasn't necessarily a bad thing. And that's it, friends. We've reached the end of another video. I hope you enjoyed the content I prepared. If you want to see other videos, don't forget to leave your suggestions in the comments. That's it from me for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.